Hey everybody, have you considered starting a podcast? We here at Screwball highly recommend Podbean for getting your podcast out to a larger audience. Podbean has given us the ability to easily bring you Screwball each and every week on all of your favorite podcast services. Use the link podbean.com/screwball to sign up and save up to 35% annually. You can also use the link podbean.com/pro/screwball to sign up for a business subscription. Happy podcasting. Hey everybody, welcome back to Screwball, a baseball podcast, your home for everything baseball. I'm your host Mike Lepre, here with my co-host Frank White.
Hey, how's it going?
This is episode 84 of Screwball, and we keep moving along in the playoffs. Similar episode to what we did last week, where we have some series to cover, a few more series this week as we saw the finales of the division series in the past week, and the championship series are currently underway and could be over by the time that this podcast goes up. Actually, kind of could be Wednesday. But anyway, so we're going to go into, like we did last week, we're going to cover the previous series and give our takes on what's going on and where things could go. But first, instead of a topic of conversation like we usually do, we're just going to lead off with some news that happened in the last few days, last week or so. And I'm going to let Frank handle the news instead of him usually handling the topic. He'll handle some of the pieces of news we got here. So I'll hand that over to him.
Yeah, so like you said, the playoffs we've seen kind of shaping up for the finale kind of the World Series. But some other news to look at, obviously instead of the postseason baseball, Major League Baseball has passed a deal that will make the MLB franchises provide housing to minor league players, which is a big advance for the minor leaguers. They had a pay increase last year, and now they're going to get provided housing, which is good. It's what the minor leaguers need. They should provide better play and more play from the players instead of being like, okay, we got to survive while you're trying to grow at the game. You have to survive, and then try getting called up to the majors. Now it's going to be like, hey, just kind of worry more about the baseball aspect and getting better, and we're going to handle some of the other stuff for you. So that's a big piece of news going around baseball.
Mm-hmm.
The other things we have here is Marcus Thames and Phil Nevin for the Yankees were fired, as well as their assistant hitting coach.
Mm-hmm.
So that's some shakeups with the Yankees and some other teams we've seen already, which more shakeups can happen. And another piece of news with Mike Shildt being released or mutually parted ways last week with the Cardinals. He is expected to interview with the San Diego Padres in the coming days for their job. So it's just some news there. Some bigger news we've seen kind of around baseball over the last couple of days.
Yeah, the Padres are going to be looking in a lot of corners of baseball to figure out whatever the hell they can do, because the pitching coach, Rothschild, was fired, mid-year after awful pitching performances. New manager, and just an overall disappointing season for the Padres. So they're going to try to exhaust all options on what they can do to, get their franchise in the place that they want it with the talent they have. So we'll see what happens with them. That obviously is, going to be an ongoing issue. God knows how long into the offseason. And then with the Yankees, they got rid of some of their coaching staff, which was as expected. But Aaron Boone's job, remains on the line at this point. There's no update on that for them. So there could be further coaching openings coming up for them, but we'll see. And the housing for the minor leaguers is interesting. I didn't even hear about it until Frank told me. So, some of the lower, especially the lower minor leaguers really don't get paid much at all. They get, a living wage more than likely, but then when you have to pay the amount of expenses that come out when you're a minor leaguer can get pretty high. So providing them housing is a pretty good step forward for the minor leagues, and can help. It's kind of the point you said. It can help them keep their head in the game, and as opposed to, well, can I pay my bills? Am I be able to see my wife or my girlfriend or my boyfriend? Am I gonna all these things that go into someone's head? It takes one less thing maybe off their back. So could even see further development in some guys that you wouldn't have in the past. So yeah, good stuff there. And obviously not taking center stage with the playoffs going on right now. Anything playoffs is taking center stage with the news. So not much to really report other than that, but good stuff nonetheless. So let's get into kind of a short little recap of the division series. We had the Red Sox and the Rays. The wild card winning Red Sox over the Rays, and the Red Sox did end up winning that series in, 4 games, right?
Yep.
They didn't even take them to a 5th game. Then you had the Astros and the White Sox again, I think 4 games, right? The White Sox only took 1. You had the Giants and the Dodgers, went right down to the wire. They went 5 games, which is a very good series. And you had you had the Braves and the Brewers, which was also only 4 games. So all the series, not quite sweeps, but, a lot of the series did feel lopsided, admittedly. Watching, you kind of felt like the Astros went up 2-0. That was pretty much it. The Red Sox went up 2-1 after, I think, 2 consecutive wins. You kind of saw the writing on the wall there. Brewers couldn't hit. And then the Dodgers and the Giants really was the coin flip series. It could have gone either way. From the start, it could have gone either way. So that was my favorite series, the division series. But there's a lot of surprises. I was wrong on every division series. So don't listen to me from here on out. I wouldn't.
Yeah. The division series were good for the most part. Like you said, you kind of mentioned the teams already moved on. Some things to note kind of what went wrong, I think, in each series. For Tampa Bay, they just didn't have people to get the outs. With the team using the bullpen all year long, it's a lot easier when you have a 60-game season. But when you have a 162-game season and you keep using people in the 3rd inning, in the 4th inning, the 5th inning, the 6th inning, the 7th inning, and use them all day long, all year long, they run out of steam. I think that's what happened with the Rays. They just couldn't get outs. So that was their biggest problem. We talked about Milwaukee. They didn't hit one little bit. Which they really haven't hit much all year. But the pitching was so great. But they haven't hit all.
Yeah.
Yelich being their offense seems to be the key to the offense. He hasn't hit in 2 years. But their offense was just lackluster. And the Braves pitching was really, really good. So that was kind of went wrong for Milwaukee there. For the White Sox, they just didn't get outs early in the games. They gave up 4 or 5 runs early every first couple innings of games. If not the first inning, it was the first 2-3 innings they were down, giving up 5 runs already. You got to get outs. You can't let them get up 4 or 5 runs and try and make it a comeback.
Yeah.
You did it once. But every series, I think they got down, gave up 3 or 4 runs in the first inning.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So that was their big problem. Otherwise, they played pretty well. It's just not pitching. They just didn't keep the game close early in the game.
Right.
The Dodgers and Giants, either team could have won. There was no one, they didn't do this right or they didn't do this right. Giants missing Brandon Belt and then just not getting key hits. So there's nothing you did like, oh, well, they just didn't hit. It was just some teams you got to lose. Somebody's got to lose.
Right.
That series just kind of went how it was expected to go. The Giants, yes, they lost in that check swing. That was not. It was close to a swing. It was really pretty much not a swing, but it was pretty close. But you didn't lose because of that.
No.
You could have got, you scored 1 run on a home run. Right down and rough, of course. So you could have did something else anywhere. Also, you could have just not got the 2 strikes. And you also could have just not swung at the ball that wasn't even close.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go anywhere. And then you got to say, oh, well, if he doesn't swing, then, then Boomer Forrest got to get a hit or keep the game alive. But, again, you want to bring it back there. They had a full swing, Darren Ruff did in the regular season that they called not a swing, which really helped the Giants win the division. So I guess it all comes full circle there.
Mm-hmm.
But that wasn't the reason they lost. It wasn't as much of a controversy, I guess, as you've seen with the Red Sox play and the White Sox play. They were more controversy. The check swing is just a check swing. At least they appealed it. It happens.
Mm-hmm.
Not the greatest of calls, but there's not much you could do there.
No.
But that was noteworthy there. For the CSs, I mean, obviously, we're looking at the Braves walking off. The Dodgers are up 2-0. And Boston's split 1-1 with the Astros going back to Boston. So that series is shaping up to be a long one. 6 or 7 games. And we're due to see a real low-scoring game. I think one of those series.
Yeah, you'd think.
We're due to see. I think that's the kind of series where you're going to see the 17, 18-inning game where both teams just don't hit for a game.
It's possible.
And then you're going to see the next day they'll put up 15 runs each.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how it goes.
Yeah.
The Braves and Dodgers are getting just beat at their own game.
Yeah.
Braves are keeping them close, not letting them score, and then the Braves are walking it off.
Yeah, 2 games in a row.
They're taking advantage of the people they need to be taken advantage of. Stealing bases when you need to, playing good defense, getting key hits, and getting outs. Series are going pretty good though.
Mm-hmm.
Exciting. I don't know what your thoughts here on the CSs. What do you think? Kind of what's going on?
Well, I think the Braves are a big surprise. I thought they were. I think I had them as the only sweep, the only team getting swept. I just didn't think that they could out pitch the Brewers, which It turned out that, that plus the fact that the Brewers just did not hit at all. So I'm not going to say I'm surprised by the Braves at how they're playing. I'm just surprised that they're doing it against teams like the Brewers and the Dodgers.
With no Acuna.
Yeah, with where they're at.
Or
So
Soroka.
yeah, I mean you have your Charlie Morton and your Max Fried pitched really good down the stretch. And you have Ian Anderson, I believe.
Going nuts in the playoffs. He's
So
best playoff pitcher we've seen almost in the last 2 years.
and you have a team with notable bullpen issues, which I thought was going to be their downfall too. And maybe your pitcher gives you a good start, 6 innings or whatever in the playoffs, and then your bullpen blows it. That's where I thought maybe their Achilles heel would be. I don't think that's really the case like it was in the season. I think their bullpen has been pretty good. I'm not going to sit here and act like I know their stats, but they're keeping, like you said, they're keeping it close with a Dodger team that is just as likely to get 10 runs in 1 inning with their lineup. So keeping them close and keeping them down and chipping away at their bullpen and forcing Dave Roberts to manage a game, you see what happens. So I think that the Braves, while I don't think the Dodgers are just going to lie down, I think that there's going to be some sort of fight in it because they are a 106-win team and they've been here before. I think that they are going to put up a fight, but I think this is the Braves series now. I think when you go 2-0,
you got to win one game in LA, and you really got the series.
Yeah, because then you go back home, worst case scenario, where you just have to win one of the 2 games.
At home.
Yeah.
And anything happening in Game 7.
Right. So this is the Braves series as it stands right now.
Yeah. The big thing, I think, in the series is, the Braves starting pitching has been so good, which has kept the believers, ability to not be overworked. Their defense has been good for the Braves. They're getting the timely hits. They're doing well. In that series, I think what we've seen, though, what I noticed, at least, is a couple bad decisions by both managers.
Mm-hmm.
Snedeker yesterday, Heredia being in the outfield, that was a terrible play in the defense. He could have dove something. But you have Christian Pache, your top prospect, who's a defensive wizard. Could have put him in center field instead of Heredia. What else we see in there? Jock Peterson backing up that play. Won them the game.
Good point.
So that's something we don't ever talk about. But he backed up. That could have been 3-4 runs instead of the 2 runs, and the game's over. But instead, he backed it up, saved 2 runs, saved them the game. David Roberts, terrible manager. He's been a terrible manager ever since with the Dodgers.
Yeah.
It's since the guys are getting paid to be. You have an all-star team every year. You ought to be pretty good. The fact that they have 1 World Series on a 60-game season, that's his only thing to his name, and 7-8 years he's been there, is terrible. Because he's a terrible manager.
Right.
He pitched 100 guys the first game. Awful. Just awful. He said he wasn't pitching Scherzer. Get right back to it. To the NLDS. Wasn't pitching on Game 5. Scherzer was like, "You're an idiot. We're going to win the game. I'm pitching." Closing it out. So he was shutting him down.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about Game 1 of the NLCS. You got to win the DS. So Scherzer had to talk him into pitching. And they won a game. Go figure.
Yeah.
But then, if Scherzer's doesn't have the chance to go 9 innings and be the guy in Game 2, why'd you pitch him? Because now you're wasting him. Not saying because he pitched on a short rest. He should pitch on a short rest. But if he said, "Hey, listen, I don't have it. I'm not gonna don't pitch me today. Pitch me Game 3. Give me 2 more days. If I can't have my ace, my number 1 guy, my workhorse, my Hall of Famer, if I can't, he doesn't have a shot at going 9 innings to win me a game, then I'm not pitching him. Unless it's like out of the bullpen and we're going to win a series, that's a little different. But if I'm not starting him, unless I have a chance, I say, listen, he's great today. He's going 9 innings. Like, he pitched pretty good yesterday, and his arm was dead. But he couldn't go no farther.
No.
70 pitches, and that was probably too much.
Yeah, agreed.
So now you got to get to their bullpen. They overworked and used 1,000 guys yesterday again. So just bad decision making, I think, all around. And then not play Justin Turner. I don't care if the guy was 0 for 130. He's your best hitter on your team. He's your best player you've had ever since you've been there, David Roberts. Justin Turner is the best player on the Dodgers. He is the Dodgers. When he doesn't play, they do nothing. And we seen that yesterday. He literally came in the game, he got hit by a pitch, and loaded the bases. He literally was in the game for 5 seconds, and the game was different.
Mm-hmm.
He's your playmaker. I think he has the most home runs in Dodgers postseason history. He is your best player, your best hitter. You need him in the game. I don't care if he's 0 for 30. I don't care if his neck's broken. I don't care what was going on. He's got to be in the game.
Agreed.
So some bad decisions there. Some defense cost the Dodgers yesterday. Corey Seager. Ball was smoked right past Kenley Jason's head. I get it. Maybe you can't really see it. The ball was hit 100 miles per hour, 130 miles per hour. I don't even know how hard that was hit.
Yeah.
But you're sidearming it. You're backhanding it. If you're Corey Seager, and I'm the Dodgers, I don't care if you take that ball to the face. Just knock it down.
Yeah.
If you knock it down, you throw him out at first because it was hit so hard, the guy's not moving.
Right.
But even if you knock it down, it keeps you near you. The guy's not scoring at least.
Yeah, then at least you get another batter.
Yeah.
You know, you get something.
But to backhand that ball there, it's like a catcher backhanding the ball in the dirt. It's do or die.
Yeah.
You get it, great. If you don't, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
You're like, well, you should have did this way. And that's what's kind of Score's secret. It was a tough play, but I think he just kind of went for the do or die. I'm going to do this, hope it works.
Right.
So that's,
right.
Bad play. Heredia had his own mistakes. We've seen some great slides in that series.
Yeah.
Sliding's really been key to winning. And I thought another thing we've seen in that series, obviously, Jock Peterson backing up that play is never going to get talked about, but won in the game. Old baseball is still going to be old baseball. It's still going to win. You need good defense. You need good pitching. And stealing bases have literally won almost every postseason game so far this playoffs.
Yep.
The ability to steal a base has almost won every series or every game. Almost every game had it came to that. Red Sox, the 2 grand slams, that game, he's base stealing there. But how many games? For the Braves, it's been their whole series, their whole postseason.
Yeah.
Being able to steal that base has won them the game. The Cardinals had the Dodgers on the ropes because they stole, 3 bases that day?
Yeah, I think Tommy Edman
And the
himself
Dodgers
had
stole
2.
a base himself.
Mm-hmm.
Cody Bellinger, which ended up scoring a run. Stealing bases, something we have not seen in baseball much, has literally been the key to the playoffs.
That's talk about anti-analytics, stolen bases, and see what happens when you start stealing bases and causing problems on the base path.
We see some teams trying to bunt. Swanson yesterday tried bunting. So old school baseball still seems to be the way to win the games.
Right.
You need good pitching, you need good defense, and you need to steal bases. And every once in a while, you get a hit or two, and you win the game. And the Braves have literally been the epitome of that.
Yeah.
We're going to get one guy on, we're going to steal second and hopefully get a hit at the next 3 guys, and we win the game. And they've literally done that twice in a row.
They're playing their baseball, and they're playing it well. And you have some heroics from guys like Eddie Rosario and Jock Peterson, which always helps. You need your postseason heroes.
But you're coming down to the wire where it's like, hey, I got 2 or 3 chances just to get a hit to win this game.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of like, hey, I need to get a ball in the gap here, or I need 3 hits here. Or no, steal a base, put pressure on him, make him throw you out.
Yeah.
Hey, Ron Washington yesterday sending everybody balls in the infield and crap. He sent him home. Make him beat you at the plate. You have to beat me. You got to be perfect. I don't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
My guy can run a wiggly line if he wants to. He's just got to get there. You got to be perfect to get me out. Make him beat you, because what? They're not going to be perfect.
No.
4 out of 10. What's the percentage of getting guys in a relay? I don't know. 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10.
Yeah, you like your odds most of the time.
Still got 40% chance he ain't throwing you out. It's not like we're scoring 10 runs. We're scoring 1 run, 2 runs. You got to get that run. Make him beat you.
Right.
So we've seen a lot of where you got to play great defense to get me out and win the game. And the Braves are putting pressure on the Dodgers and putting pressure on guys and putting pressure on everybody by pitching great, staying in the games, and then beating you with old school baseball.
Yeah, it's just it's textbook, and you can never replace that. I don't feel like it's just, and it always shines through in the playoffs. That's where it shines through, because in the regular season you find ways to win games. Things happen. 162 games, you win games on pass balls, and shit happens.
Push comes to shove, you go down to what works.
Mm-hmm.
Postseason, you don't care about your stats. Regular season, I don't care what people say. They look at the stats. They look up at their board. They go, all right, I want to bunt here. I want to try getting a hit. They want to have their own. They have their own careers and stats and lives and money and all this other crap they're worried about. Plus the team. Postseason, they don't care about anything.
They just want to win. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they bunt more. They hit behind runners. They steal bases. They're trying to do. They'll pitch 3 innings. They'll pitch 1 inning. They'll get 1 out. Reliever pitch 6 innings. They don't care. They want to win. So that's what we see. We always see. But that series I thought was just a little bit of some bad decisions. Dave Roberts proving again to be not a good manager. His pitching ideas are terrible. Yeah. Again, if you're going to pitch Scherzer, he's got to be able to. I want my guy. I think you should be able to pitch 3 days rest. I'm not pitching 3 days rest unless I know you can go 9 innings. Unless you can win me this game. Julio Urias, you put him in that yesterday. That was stupid. Because now you lost the game, and now he's going to pitch on, 3 days rest in game 4? Would you possibly down 3-0? Or 2-1? Yeah. You're going to pitch a guy you just pitch out of the bullpen for what reason? You have all these other guys in the bullpen. Pitch them. Pitch them.
They got a lot of good arms in the bullpen. They have a good bullpen.
Instead of pitching a guy every single day, maybe just have him pitch 1 day and have him pitch 3 innings. Tony Gonsolin, I'd rather have him. Why would you have your best starter this year? Hands down, the Dodgers' best starter all year. Well, Walker Buehler. Let's get he's been their best.
Yeah.
So they're second best, hands down all year because Scherzer wasn't there all year,
Mm.
and he struggled down the stretch last 2 starts or so. Is Urias. So why waste him out of the bullpen?
Yeah. He is your guy. He's your stopper.
If you win that game, you don't think about it. You lose that game, you realize how stupid that was at Dave Roberts. Again, showing to be a bad manager.
Right.
If it wasn't for the talent in that team, pure talent has won him a lot of games. He wouldn't be there no more.
And it's like the famous words of Buck Showalter, you never judge a managerial move by the outcome. And even if it does work out, you still look at that move and you go, why did you do that? You know what I mean? Even if it worked, even if they win the game, it works out.
It's still pivotal 1-1, and he's going to pitch in at either 2-1, you're up, which could really, you're up 2-1, and he pitches, and you win, it's 3-1. You know, forks in the guys.
Right.
Now you just got to get the knife out and cut it. You know? Or you're down 2-1, you got to win that game, or the fork's in you, and all they got to do is take the knife out and cut you.
Yeah. That's it.
So it doesn't make sense. And again, Scherzer, you know, I know he wants the ball there, but if he can't go 9 innings and win me a game, then I don't want him on the mound. Because that's my Hall of Famer. That's my number 1. That's my ace. He's got to be able to give me 9 innings.
Yeah. And you know he's coming to Dave Roberts and saying, I'm pitching.
Yeah, not that I'm saying he has to pitch 9 innings.
Yeah.
But the ability to pitch 9 innings.
Yeah.
He had no chance yesterday. He could have been taken out at 40 pitches. He really shouldn't have pitched. He said his arm was dead. He could have took him out at 30 pitches. And he would have had nothing. Listen, he's on today. He's going 9. Bullpen's rested for 2 days in a row. I mean, that's the World Series.
Yeah, then you're in the money.
You literally could have set yourself for the World Series with a game like that. Or you beat him into the dirt. Now you're going to pitch him again on 3 days rest and probably a pivotal game 6.
Yeah. I mean...
Well, game 5, you rush him again. Or game 6 or 7, you're pitching him after having a dead arm. It doesn't make sense. It's bad management.
No, I agree.
Especially when you have other pitchers. It's not like you're relying on one guy. We're like, hey, it's kind of our guy here. So, just bad decisions there. The other series, I haven't really seen much to say that's been good or bad. It's been mostly, hey, expect it. Red Sox being scrappy, doing their thing, smashing the ball, but also hitting behind guys. The defense is still kind of struggling. Their pitching's just figuring it out. Matt Barnes doesn't even pitch. They're just kind of like, hey, we're here, whatever. And then the Astros just don't strike out.
Which is, usually they are the strikeout team, so it's, impressive on their part.
Not striking out, and they have some of the best defense you've seen. Their infield's one of the best infielders maybe of all time.
I think Correa, that one, I don't know if you probably know the play I'm talking about on that double play. He might have thrown that ball 200 miles an hour.
Yeah. Kyle Tucker's going nuts.
Yeah.
Expected, guys prospect level, so expected to be. But they're doing how they always do.
Yeah.
But they're just, that series, there hasn't really been much. We go, that decision was stupid, that decision was bad.
The Red Sox come out and hit 2 grand slams. Kind of easy to look at that game.
But the Astros kept it close, 9-5.
Yeah.
Made them use some of their good guys, and hey, we're not going down.
Yeah.
Kept all right, these guys are still here. Mm-hmm. So it's that series hasn't been much, to my, nothing that stood out and said, well, that's stupid or that's costing them or.
I think that series is going to go to the distance. I think
it's going to go to the end, 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Hopefully, at this point, I'd actually rather see the Astros because of Dusty Baker than the other guys. The cheating Alex Coras and the fellas. Even though the Astros cheat too, don't get me wrong, but Dusty Baker's the man. So, but that series has been pretty much straightforward. The teams are doing what they do.
Well, the Red
Astros
Sox
don't strike out. They're trying to put the ball in play. They're playing good defense, matching home runs. The Red Sox are matching home runs, but also hitting behind runners, guys with no names stepping up, and no name pitchers somehow getting outs. So they're just kind of doing their thing. And when something falls their way, they're capitalizing on it.
Yeah, and
couple bad calls or something, they jump all over it.
And that's what your good teams do. They capitalize on mistakes or bad calls, or when they find an opening, they go in, and they rip the opening, and make it their game.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to go into real quick as to this Red Sox, because I actually thought coming into the playoffs, the Red Sox had the worst odds to do anything in the playoffs, to be honest. And that's not just me being a Yankee fan. They have
no depth.
Anyway. Exactly. They don't.
You have guys playing first base that don't play first. You have guys playing second who aren't very good.
Mm-hmm.
Your defense, even when your players that play every day aren't that great. Devers and Bogarts defensively are not great.
Mm-hmm.
J.D. Martinez is banged up, and if he plays outfield, not great.
Your bullpens isn't very deep.
You don't have a center fielder.
No.
Really,
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, your pitching's just all over the place.
Yeah, you don't really know what you're going to get every day. You're probably your most solid pitcher that you can bank on in the playoffs is Eovaldi. You know what I mean? And if Sale turns in one of his patented starts, you got Sale. But Eduardo Rodriguez, especially this postseason, is not good. So, I mean, I wanted to just bring up why they're at where they're at. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys here listed. Only 3 of them are batting under 300. And they're all and it's Kyle Schwarber, Christian Vasquez, and Christian Arroyo, and they're batting 286 and 269.
And Kyle Schwarber's got, 4 home runs?
Kyle Schwarber has 2 home runs, 2 RBIs, and 4 walks.
Maybe that was it, 4 walks. But
So-
2 big home runs.
And timely home runs. You have Kike Hernandez, first of all, is leading the team, and just
7 straight at-bats with a hit.
he has 5 home runs, 9 RBIs, and he's batting 500.
He had 7 straight hits at-bats with a hit.
I mean,
Christian Vasquez, 8th walk-off home run out of playoff for a catcher in the playoffs. They're doing, whatever over there.
and this is what the Red Sox really kind of did all year. Their pitching lagged. Admittedly, really, their pitching is the worst out of the 4 teams that are here, let's be honest. But their hitting was good all season, really, and now they're coming through when they need to come through, and they're playing their game.
Their hitting's going to keep when their pitching's bad, their hitting's still going to keep them relatively in it. When their pitching's good, their hitting's wins the game.
Right. And the Astros,
It's been good all year,
and
all around.
And, the Astros are admittedly hurting without McCullers. So that's also something a little wrinkle to look at in the...
But their defense is great. They're not striking out. They've been there before. They do steal bases themselves. They do a little bit of everything. So that's an exciting series. Like I said, I haven't really seen a managerial decision where I'm like, that's stupid.
No, they're both good.
Yeah,
both
they're
those managers.
But the other side of it, really the Braves haven't really seen too many decisions other than, Pache yesterday.
Yeah, nothing glaring.
Yeah, but David Roberts has really, with the talent he has, and it's been years of this.
Yeah, this isn't the first year
that's
anyone's
why
noticed this.
It bothers me that his talent on his team, the money that they put together to buy him those players, and that's all he can come up with is just pitiful. So, and he's definitely has full reign too. Not where you're like,
Oh, yeah.
The Yankees, Aaron Boone. Like, wait, is it him? Is it this guy? No, it's Roberts over there.
Yeah, he's calling the shots. Yeah.
So, that's kind of where we're at though. The CSs are pretty crazy. Braves 2 up. I think the Braves. I'd love to see the Braves win the World Series.
I think they got a good shot, and I think it's a very realistic possibility to see a Braves Red Sox World Series, which is just wasn't really on many people's radar. One of the lesser seeds, to put it, in the NL, and then the wild card team in the AL.
You got a chance of seeing Dusty win his first one as a manager, take another franchise to the World Series, and not have a contract.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, there's so many different options, and it is especially in the AL looking like it could go either way. I think the AL more than the NL really could go either way.
And a lot of big players with no home next year. Carlos Correa, Dusty Baker's manager doesn't have a home. You
got Schwarber,
the Red Sox. There was another one out there with the Red Sox.
JD Martinez is coming to the end of his rope with the Red Sox.
Yeah, I think there was another. Was Evaldi on a short? No, maybe I think Evaldi still had a deal. There was Eduardo Rodriguez, But with the Dodgers, you got Seager coming to the end of his. Scherzer.
Yep.
Turner has 1 year left, but he's coming. Trey Turner coming towards the end.
I think Kenley Jansen is at the end of his.
These are some big names. With the Astros, got Correa. Other than that, the rest of them are kind of pretty much set there. For the most part.
I think so.
Still got his years, but Correa is one of their biggest pieces.
Greinke's going to be 40, 41. I think Greinke's gone.
Yeah, he's out. And then for the Braves, I mean, they're about the only ones that don't. We got Jock Peterson
and Freeman.
Oh, Freeman. Yeah. Sure, Freeman.
Yeah, Freeman's you keep
Forgot
him.
about Freeman,
You keep him. You're good.
Really. Rest of the team ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
So there's some big guys coming up. They got to make some big moments here. Get a little extra money. Freeman turns it on here in the NLCS, which he hasn't so far. If he turns it on, all of a sudden they win the World Series. They're going, we got to pay Freeman.
Yeah.
If he keeps going and he goes 0 for 15 in the NLCS, they're like, well, this guy literally had to help nothing. So we don't need him. Big decisions to make here. Also, you got a team like the Ashes already won one. They win another one. They don't pay Correa.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
Why we dished the money out? We already got 2 World Series out of our rebuild. Same with Springer. Why pay him? We already got our one out of it. Mm-hmm. We don't need to break the bank. We can just keep kind of building. And
especially if they get one that isn't, because they win one and it's the Houston Asterisks and it's always marred in it's kind of covered by that controversy. Now they win this one. Not to say it's not covered in controversy, but it's almost like they're sticking their middle finger to the league. It's like, well, hey, we won one. What are you going to say now? So they get their second one. Buy Correa, buy Greinke. Springer's already gone. We won our 2. Not to say that they're just going to completely give up because they still do have Bregman and Altuve and stuff. But
they don't have to keep the players around and jeopardize the future years when they can kind of keep tooling up every year. instead of like try keeping the squad together and let them age and then kind of need to go through a rebuild. Almost kind of like the Cubs might have tried. They kind of went and did that.
Yeah.
They kind of could have traded a couple guys away a little earlier and kind of kept the retool, kind of kept the team progressing or at least stable.
Right.
Instead of being like, well, rebuild. Up, good again, rebuild. Astros have been able to keep this rebuild or this retool really just pushing it down the road. And I don't know if they're ever really going to have to do that the way they had the team set up.
Yeah, I mean they got a lot of talent. I mean, just in the department of hitting, you still got Bregman, Altuve, Yordan Alvarez, Kyle Tucker. I mean, they got quite the core there. So
Gurriel,
yeah, and who, like you said, I think you said it last week, is older than both of us thought.
38 years old, winning batting titles. And
Yeah.
He's got looking like those troll dolls with the hair all over the place. So, I mean, it's nuts. So.
But, I mean, we'll see. I think that the AL is going to be interesting. I think the NL, I'm not going to say it's sewn up because it's never sewn up until the series is over. But the Braves have to like their chances.
Braves have 3 games to win one.
Yeah.
To get it back home and win the series at home.
Right. So as long as you don't go to LA and get swept, which...
You win 2 games out of 5. You really want to break it down that way. You got to win 2 games out of 5. With the way they're playing, that seems pretty reasonable.
And with their pitching.
And 2 of them games are going to be home.
Yeah,
or at least
so
1 game at home.
You definitely like your chances, and the Dodgers have to. It's a gut check time for them. A 106-win team that just spends money like the Steinbrenner Yankees, and you don't want to go down to the Braves team that was just beaten to a pulp all year, really. With injuries
and Acuna's now back at the dugout.
Yeah.
I thought that was big for their team and their fan base to see him back out there. So that was a little excitement. It's an energy that you don't expect to see.
No, I'm sure they'd like to have him out there, but the whatever they got going now is working. So
he pulls the Kirk Gibson Game 7 of the World Series, comes out there, it's a home run with 1 leg.
It'd be unbelievable, especially in this day and age.
No swings since July. No slates.
Yeah.
Like home runs.
Ice cold, 480 feet.
Yeah. Crawling around the bases.
Yeah, I'll get there. But we'll see. I mean, good playoffs all around, all the way up to the championship series, because we're kind of coming to the end here. There's only going to be the World Series left after these are over. But good playoffs, and just like the whole season, just keep me on my toes on it.
Ruckus.
It's just nothing makes sense to me.
Yeah, you got to pick and choose what you're rooting for too. Unless you're a fan of one of these teams. I mean, you got the Astros with their problems, Alex Cora and his cheating ways, and the Red Sox, the Astros with their cheating ways, the Braves. Seems like the mightiest of underdogs without Acuna. And then you have the Dodgers, who've been good and winning, and they pay the most money to everybody. So do you like them?
Yeah, they're like the evil empire.
So you got to pick and choose your who you want. And, the Astros, yeah, but they got Dusty. And a lot of people love Dusty. The Red Sox, they got some players I guess you can like, but, the Red Sox cheat. The Braves just seem like I like to see the Braves win. I don't know if they can without Acuna. It just seems like how, and they're gonna keep doing it. And the Dodgers, they pay all the most money to everybody. Boston pays the second most money to everybody. People don't want to talk about that, but the Dodgers bought everybody, and they have a terrible manager, and they're just that's them. So that's just how it goes. You buy all your players, like they said the Yankees always did, but Dodgers, they don't get talked about, I guess.
Yeah, and I think they have the top payroll by a lot. It's not even close.
And then Boston second. I think there's another team third, and I think the Yankees fourth. So that's surprising to some people. But exciting to come down to the wire with teams that just don't belong there, or teams that should have been there a different way, and then another team's got 106 wins and they're their away team.
Yeah,
it's just kind of
it's weird.
2 years in a row, ruckus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, gotta love it though. Postseason baseball, it's always like baseball. You can't predict it.
Yeah.
I mean, my whole playoff bracket's wrong. So what the hell?
I wasn't even close. So, but to get to our last little thing here, a trivia question for the week, obviously playoff based. We should start with all the walk-offs we see. 4, I think, in the playoffs so far total. 2 in one series.
2 Red Sox, 2 Braves. You got the Dodgers walked off against the Cardinals.
That's 5.
That's 5.
Yeah, at least 5 or 6 walk-offs.
Yeah,
already.
And then I'm sure I'm forgetting some.
10 games or whatever. So, it's been nuts. So we want to go with this trivia question here, which is, which 2 franchises have never been walked off in postseason history? So never had a team hit the walk-off hit against them in postseason history. Only 2 franchises. So which 2 were they? First one, the Miami/Florida Marlins. Obviously, they didn't lose a playoff series until last year, so it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And this one was a little bit more surprising. Toronto Blue Jays. Never been walked off against.
Yeah, they've done some walking off.
Yes, Joe Carter, Game 6, touch 'em all, Joe. Marlins, Edgar Renteria. He hits walk-offs for every team. But yes, that was a trivia question. Which two franchises have never been walked off against in postseason history? Toronto Blue Jays, the Miami Marlins. And just a little extra tidbit out there, only one franchise has never had a walk-off hit of any kind in the postseason for them, and that's the Colorado Rockies.
That makes sense. Rockies haven't been there quite as much as they'd like to.
But they go to the World Series in 07, a team that just seemed to come back all the time. Colorado, you're playing at home. It seems they always win at home, and it's always walk-offs. This year they led the league in walk-offs, and they weren't very good.
They were in like 4th, yeah.
So you would think, the way the ball actually carries, too. You know, some people say the ball goes 900 feet out there, which is not true.
Right.
You'd think, it got to be walk-off home runs, right, on pop-ups? So you would think that'd be what happens out there, but that's not the case.
Yeah, because their most famous walk-off, I would think, would be the Matt Holliday game, which was a play-in game or a game 162 as opposed to a playoff game. So if you're thinking of the Matt Holliday game, there you go.
Yeah.
And that was in 07, right? That was when they went to the
07,
World Series. Yeah,
they were
so.
like 29-4 down the stretch or something like that.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Well, so when you think about it, they make sense because they haven't been. It's not like you're picking the Yankees, Red Sox, Cardinals, Dodgers, Giants who have been in the World Series or
Braves,
playoffs.
A's, all those guys.
They've been there a million times. So it has to be one of the more maybe like the expansion teams or whatever. But no, it's a good one. Marlins make sense because, like you said, they haven't lost a series until last year. So unless they got walked off last year, it didn't happen. And the Blue Jays haven't quite been in it.
When they are, they don't lose.
Yeah, so it's like, they were in it a few... Well, actually, really, they were in it last year, right? When they played in Buffalo?
Yeah, they were in it last year on a 3-game series or something small.
Yeah, I know
they got beat pretty early.
Yeah, they got beat pretty good. But they were in it with the Jose Bautista game against the Rangers. And then you had, in the early 90s and stuff. So... they've been there, but to not be walked off against is always pretty good for a team because that's always demoralizing, especially in the playoffs. So
Yeah. So I just wanted to go. That was our trivia question for the week. Other than that, though, we went into what we kind of think here. Playoffs are coming down to the wire. Lots of craziness. We got Game 3 tonight, the ALCS, so we're just expecting nonsense to ensue. Brett Phillips-esque, walk-off moments, baseball or playoff moments, which we're expected to see here. It always happens in the middle of the series, Game 3, Game 4, Game 5. Ruckus always ensues.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. But other than that, just excited to see the rest of the playoffs through. Not really have much of a favorite here. Braves would be my number 1 team to go win. 2 would probably be the Astros because of Dusty Baker. And 3 and 4, they don't actually count, so we don't manage them. But it's pretty much where we're at here.
Yeah, I'm pretty much an NL fan at this point because I'm not rooting for the Red Sox, and I am not rooting for the Astros. I would pick the Astros over the Red Sox again for Dusty Baker, and I do like Altuve. I know a lot of people
Alvarez.
really don't. I like Yordan Alvarez and Kyle Tucker and these guys. So I do there are some Astro players I like.
I like McCullers.
Yeah, I like McCullers too. So there's some Astro players I like. Not that there's no Red Sox players
Brantley,
I like.
come on.
Oh, yeah. I always forget about Brantley.
Because he doesn't say nothing. I don't think he said a word since he's been at the Astros. I don't think he said a word since he's been in the league. He's just like, it's me.
Yeah. So, I mean, the Astros I don't mind rooting for. Obviously, their recent history is I'm not the biggest fan of. But, so, we'll see what happens. Like I said, I'm probably going to root for either NL team at this point. It's looking like it might be the Braves. So, we shall see. And, by the time this goes live, hopefully the championship series will still be going on unless both series, like the team unless like the Red Sox sweep at home or vice versa, the Astros sweep on the road, or if the Braves come out and win 2 in a row in that series, which would be nuts. But by the time this goes live, they should both still be going on unless, something crazy like that happens. So, and then we'll come back with the recap of those in the World Series. We'll be looking at a World Series preview, really.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
We're right on the cusp of craziness.
Yep,
So,
sure are.
Some other, sports news to take note of: basketball, hockey. Basketball on the verge. By this goes live, basketball will be back. Hockey was already back with the Devils home opener. That was pretty cool. So hockey's back, basketball's back, college football's rocking and rolling. NFL's mid stride here. Week 6. We've seen some craziness there. Raiders won again, 4-2. after their ruckus they had last 2 weeks really, with the franchise at all, and all with the NFL. Also, Raiders, good chance they file a lawsuit against the league again in a true Al Davis fashion. So, but they won, so hopefully they keep winning. But yeah, all the sports are kind of back here. NASCAR coming to to the end of their playoffs. Baseball coming to the end of their playoffs. Women's basketball just ended. College football is getting to the meat and potatoes here. Basketball's back. Hockey's back. College basketball will be coming back. Just everything all here at once. And golf's still going on. So it's just a little bit of everything going on. So
yeah.
It's a good time to kind of turn the TV on and watch whatever you want.
Absolutely. So there's a time of the year where you got any sport you like is on, so you can check out whatever you're into. And again, postseason, even if you're not a big baseball fan, you gotta love playoffs and really any sport, if you're a sports fan. So
yeah, and you're at the point where you get the playoffs, which is obviously the most important, most exciting parts of the games, and the new seasons, which is the most exciting part, second most exciting part, because every team's still got a shot.
Yeah, that's true.
So
yeah, I mean, you got a lot to watch, and like you said, football's kind of hitting its stride in the middle approaching the middle of the season. So
yeah, it's who's in, who's out, kind of starting to get to that point where it's like, all right, this team's kind of not great, and this team's pretty good, and this team's underperforming. You're starting to get to that point in football and college football.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So again, you got a lot to watch and a lot to like. So that's all I got for this week. Just excited about what's going to happen with these championship series and the World Series. But good playoff baseball so far, it's as expected, and a lot of exciting moments and walk-offs and all the like. So that's kind of all I got for this week.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just I think we're going to see a lot more ruckus here in the next couple of days. Game 3 in Fenway here. If I had to take a guess, this is the ruckus game. This is the 17-inning one. This is the 17-inning 1-1 or 15-15 or
something insane.
Come back, the David Freese kind of game, something like that's gonna happen. Game 3 at Fenway. We already seen the guys flipping over the fence and David Ortiz, the grand slam, and it always happen here at Fenway, and it always seems to happen right here, Game 3, Game 4. So expect a little ruckus tonight.
You're right. So we'll see. We're gonna watch Game 3 and see what happens. So it could help determine the series. So with that, I think we should wrap this one up.
Yeah, that's all I got.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. You can catch this podcast on Apple Podcasts as well as Google Podcasts and Spotify. You can listen on our regularly updated YouTube channel as well as our website, screwball.podbean.com. You can follow me on Twitter at RealMikeLepre. You can follow me on Instagram at Mike Lepre.
And you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at FDubs10.
You can follow our official Screwball Twitter at ScrewballPod. You can follow our official Screwball Facebook at ScrewballPod. No E in Screw. And that's it from us, guys. We'll see you next week.
Yep. Take care.